Good Thursday morning of the 24th week. This is many hours after since I've done the last one of these. I had to go to school. I had to do, what's today? Thursday. Yeah, I had to go teach class or something, if you could call what I do teaching. But well, the kids like me. They seem to anyway. Anyway, I tell them stories. Tell them stories about the kids of the old neighborhood. I remember one young guy said to me a couple of years ago, "Tell us more stories." Well, that's part of it. What's the gospel but storytelling, true storytelling. There's a lot of wisdom in stories. If you look at your families, how many times do your children and your grandchildren ask you about your past, ask you where you came from, ask you about your parents, grandparents, anything, your uncles and cousins and this and that, things that they would spark their curiosity, namely, where did you come from? You see, who are you and where did you come? You're their parent, okay? But another way, you're a story unto itself. And I think there's something extraordinarily special about telling your family stories. I remember my dad doing it. Yeah. Yep, he sure did. I mean, I felt like I knew my cousins and my aunts and uncles in Italy, having never met them till many, many years later. When I was in my 30s when I met my family in Italy. But I knew them. I know Uncle Sergio, and I know Uncle Alessandro and Bianca, Eugenia. Didn't know my cousins over there, and the reason would have been simple. My father wouldn't have known them. He came here at 18 years old, so what I knew were his siblings and his stories. And he passed them on to me, and they're a living part of me. That's the truth. See, storytelling is an old art, and very often people who are wise tell stories. They don't try to argue with you. They tell you a story. It's as old as the Bible. It's as old as the ancient literatures. These were storytellers. But in the telling of the story, they told them who they were and what was life about. You see? I love that. Maybe that's why I like going, when I'm in Italy especially, I always go to the cemetery right down the street because I'm looking at my history. I'm looking at my family story. That's my uncle, that's my aunt. I knew them, Argena and Alessandro and Sergio, but here's my grandfather Pietro, my father's father. I never knew him. You see? And there's my grandmother. See? There's my story in that graveyard. It's not a story of death, it's a story of life. See? It's like the story in the New Testament. When we look at the lives of, for instance, the great apostles, we're not remembering the dead, we're remembering, in a sense, those from whom we have flowed, whose lives have become our lives. Okay? We're not just honoring those who went before us, we are living it, because we are heirs to their spirit, heirs to their story. Okay? I am my father's son. See, that's how I put it. Of course, I'm my mother's son. But when I think of the values that I have and the way I address myself to life, I think of both my parents very strongly. But I do things my father's way. But I remember the dignity of my mother. When I left home 60-something years ago, she blessed me in this sense. I mean, she wasn't crazy about me going to a seminary or anything. But she said something to me. It wasn't something like, be a holy man, be this. You know what she said to me? Simply, I told you, sorry, don't disgrace the family name. Never dishonor our family. Never dishonor our family. Isn't that something? So aware of that. Never dishonor the family name. When I endowed the chair of philosophy at SLU, and my colleague Dan Habron holds the Vitali chair in philosophy, you couldn't ask for a better person for it. I didn't pick him out, but I would have. I didn't give it to him. The university did. But what I said to him in very poor and probably inarticulate Italian, to porta mio nome, you carry my name now. Do it your way. Thank you, Frank Sinatra. I said, Dan, do it your own way. But never dishonor my name. Yeah, that's me. That's Vitali. Never dishonor the family name. Boy, that was so built into our culture. I think of that. The same I think about my own order. I think about the university that way. Don't dishonor the university. Don't dishonor the Passionists. There's no lockstep way of being a Passionist or a university professor. But don't dishonor it by disgrace. See, as the Italians go, disgrazia. That's if there's a mortal sin in an Italian culture, it's to be disgraceful, to dishonor your family, to be disgraceful, disgrazia. Ooh, in my house, yes, you're better off committing murder, whatever, you know. Lily's here right now, and she's wagging her tail, which means she's hungry. And she's hungry, she's mooching. I call her Lily the Mooch. Now look at her. You want to see her? Right there. Do you see Lily? She's saying, when are you going to get done making these silly things and get on to the important business of my cookies? She's a beautiful companion for me, I have to say. What, Lily? Okay, I'll get you cookies in a minute. Okay, let me finish this, all right? Come on, Lil. Be good once in your life. Well, you're sometimes good. She says, I'm good all the time. Yeah, no, you're not, Lil. If her tail wags any harder, she's going to knock this bear over. Okay, Lily, I'll bring you cookies. I promise you, we're going to go get cookies, but give me a couple of minutes, okay? I just want to stop this little thought of mine as I'm sharing it with my friends all over the country. You see? They always ask about you. She says, how's Lil? And I said, well, Lil is Lil. She owns me. I'm renting space, but she owns it. Look at it. She really wants a cookie. She's really bugging me now. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't use the text today, did I? I'm just reflecting with you. I'm just thinking about the narrative of my life, but the narrative of yours. I hope as I tell my story, you tell yourself yours. And most of all, tell it to your kids and your grandkids. Let them know who you are and who came before you and who carries your name, who bore your name before you. Yeah. Who brought honor to your name and how you have brought honor to your name by your lives, your professional lives, but most of all, your moral lives. And pass that on and ask only what my mother asked of us or demanded of us. Never do dishonor to our name. Honor our name by being excellent at what you do and how you do it. You do it with honor, virtue, character. Whether it's waiting on tables as my father did or being a university professor like I am. What's the difference? As long as we're good at what we do. And that doesn't mean just academically good or you're a good waiter. Is that you are actively good in who and what you are. And whether you're waiting on a table or correcting a term paper, you do it with an elegance. An elegance that witnesses to the inner perfection of who you are and what you are. I'm not saying any of that wise, not anything well, but my father was a perfectly supreme waiter. He was proud of being good at what he did. He waited tables. Well, I wait on the students and the faculty at SLU. I was chairman for 28 years. I hope, like my father, I served well. And I would be remembered for having served well. And I hope I have served my students well by teaching as well as I can teach. And the people of the parish by my exercise of the sacraments and my preaching. I hope in the end I've done well with the gifts given to me, the vocations to which I have been called. I mean that. I hope I have lived an honorable life in that very vitale sense. Very much.